Hello everybody, my name is RagingRaptor and I welcome you to a new World of Tanks preview video. And today we have from this Supertest the K-91 and the Object 277. Those are the two new tier 10 tanks which we are still missing for the T10 and the Object 430 version 2. So, I guess it will be really darn cool to have a look at those two vehicles and see what we can get. First, let's see what Wargaming is saying about those vehicles. The K-91 is a medium tank and it's the top dog of the rear-mounted Med line. The K-91 is a fast tank with very good accuracy, enabling it to snipe. The 1700 meter per second and 276mm APCR standard round also adds to the sniping capabilities. Other peculiarities include a weak armor and your usual Soviet gun depression, combined with a limited turret traverse, which may or may not be changed depending on the test results. The characteristics of the K-91 are impressive, but how do you play it? It's mainly an ambush and support tank. It's not capable of knife fighting. The view range enables it to spot very well and the camo is just a bit worse than the one on the 430U. The mobility is comparable to other country tanks and the thin armor really makes it hard to survive fire. Another shortcoming during brawling is the 180-degree gun arc. Thus, when playing the K-91, you need to use your camo and snipe if you want some adrenaline go to the second line. So, a little bit of history or just one snippet of history. This tank used to be or is basically a heavy tank project, but Wargaming says it is going to be a medium tank project for some reason. There are even drawings of this tank which are interesting, like it is already in World of Tanks Blitz. There you can see it is not rear mounted, like the turret is not rear mounted. This is the the K-91 version 2 project and you can see this is where it is rear mounted, but yeah, the whole shape is definitely different when we compare it with what we've got here. So yeah. Chances are though that those parts here are spaced armor, so yeah, we don't really have yet the, the damage models of this vehicle. But now let's jump into the stats of this vehicle and see what it can do. Obviously it is a tier 10 medium tank of the USSR line with 1800 hit points, a maximum speed of 55 km per hour forward and 20 km per hour backwards. So it's definitely nothing compared to the Object 268 version 4. The whole traverse is 50 degrees per second and the turret traverse is 45 degrees per second, which are actually pretty good values, and the view range are whopping 410 meters. Again, to the armor, we can't really say a lot about it because, well, we don't really have those stats yet, but 140 millimeters of whole armor is actually pretty good if you think about it. But again, we don't know for sure how it is, so I guess it is our best bet right now is to compare it with the tier 9 tank with the Object 430 version 2 when I can find it. There we go. And well, it also has 120 millimeters of armor, and well, the armor is pretty darn meh sometimes. You can side scrape with it, but you should not really count on it. But yeah, I guess the armor will be roughly the same. Probably this is just going to be 140 millimeters thick, upper and lower plate. You can see it is really thick here. That's about it, I would say. Yes, this upper front part most likely also be 40 millimeters of armor, meaning it will be overmatched by everything above 120 millimeters of caliber. Otherwise, 60 millimeters of side armor will be worse than the 80 we have here, but on the other hand, it looks like it has a lot of space. No, not really. It looks like here we have spaced armor, but that's about it. This looks like it will be normal armor again, and we got our Soviet lock there. Other than that, back 45 millimeters T49 will be able to penetrate it. But now to the turret armor, 220 millimeters in the front, 140 in the side, and 60 on the back. And you can see this turret maybe looks familiar, and I think we can get a pretty accurate resemblance right in the game. Excuse me there, I don't know what happened to the microphone for a second. But yes, if we go and get the 705, excuse me, tier 9 Russian heavy tank, you can see that, well, this turret looks quite familiar, or looks quite the same. If we make some quick adjustments, and this is due to the fact that this is probably also a 901 tank turret, as you can see. It is though better armored most likely, so we can't really look at that in particular, but you can see this tank has a bigger gun mantlet and it's much more streamlined. So I think looking at this turret will give us a decent amount of armor values, and if it has 60mm of turret armor or roof armor here, that would be fantastic for this vehicle. But yeah, now we have a look at the gun. It is your standard 320 damage gun, 276mm of APCR penetration though. No, that is the highest of any tier 10 medium tank. And 330mm of heat penetration, well, that is the standards. Other than that, 320 damage. The real time is pretty long, 7.68 seconds for only 320 damage and 0.33 accuracy and 1.9 seconds aim time. So it is okay, but it could be better, especially the DPM. We can actually calculate that DPM, and by just using 60 seconds divided by the 7.68 times 320 gives us a DPM of 2500. But yes, those are most likely the stats of, I don't know, it's not really, it's hard to tell. I think you can press it down with tank gun rammer, with BIA and with Wentz. But otherwise the DPM is really similar to the one of the Object 430 version 2. Which is kind of sad if you think about it, when the tier 10 vehicle has the same DPM as a tier 9 vehicle. Other than that, the model looks actually pretty darn interesting. I really like how those sprockets or those road wheels are made, especially here. And it looks weird, but looks like a weird funny tank. Other than that, we get to the Object 277, which is the predecessor to the T10, or the successor, excuse me, not predecessor. Predecessor would be the IS-3. Little thought here. As you can see, the model is not yet finished. There are still a lot to do. It's just more or less the basic mock of the vehicle. But yeah, I guess it is a good idea to look into what Wargaming is saying about this vehicle. It's a tier 10 assault tank combining mobility and armor. As a real successor to the T10, the 277 uses its strong points, offering better aim time, DPM and penetration. The higher alpha and HP pool makes this vehicle even better than the T10. Just like the T10, the 277 is a heavy arm, suited to countering enemy assaults and denying key points. Well armed and agile, it allows an aggressive play on attack, outmaneuvering enemies in defenses and fast flexing. It will still, however, have the measly 5.5 degrees of gun depression. So yeah, this is the WZ-111-5A of the Russian Tech 3. And it is though a little bit different in some aspects, like it has worse DPM, better premium penetration and a better standard penetration. Oh no, not better premium penetration, just better standard penetration. Worse gun depression, but probably a stronger turret, even if this is possible. But yeah, 2200 hit points are actually pretty darn nifty, and I think it is a good idea to probably just compare it with the WZ-111 Model 5A as well. Those are roughly the same vehicles. The hit points stay the same, and the top speed even gets a little bit better by 5 km per hour. This could actually be pretty darn important. The hull traverse is 42 degrees per second, which is 5 degrees worse, and the turret traverse is 26 degrees per second, which is the same. Fuel range also stays the same at 400 meters. But don't forget that, guys, those stats are still subject to change. Those are just the first preliminary stats. The armor, once again, we don't really have anything to compare it to, but it says 140mm on the front, which means it would be the same as the WZ-111 Model 5A would have. 140mm is strong, especially in such an angle, and if you can use your gun depression. Other than that, it has 112mm of side armor. My biggest guess would be that this side armor will be exactly the same as with the Model 5A, where those upper parts will be 112 millimeters of armor and the lower part 80 millimeters of armor. And the back of the hull is 50 millimeters. Once again, the WZ Model 5A will win there. The turret armor is roughly the same with 290 compared to the 300 of the WZ, which is also really darn strong if you think about it. And 224 on the side is a little bit better than this tank's with 210. And on the back we have 80 millimeters, which is also a little bit better. So overall the turret will be stronger. But and this is like where it would be really cool to know the tank model or the damage model, because we can see the cupola are pretty exposed. The one on the WZ Model 5A are really strong as well, 210 millimeters and 180 millimeters, plus this tank has 7 degrees of gun depression, meaning that if you actually use it properly, those cupolas will be nearly impossible to hit, and if they will be hit in such an angle, it will be not able to be penetrated. But yet those will probably be in the major weak spot of this vehicle, as it only has 5.5 degrees of gun depression, meaning it would be around this. It's still not too bad, but you can see the cupola will stick out much further. Plus the cupola is further up in the front than the one on WZ5A. Yeah, it will be interesting. The turret looks strong, it looks streamlined, but yeah. Other than that, we got a 490 Alpha gun, which is, again, really strong if you think about it. It's a 130mm high power gun. 265 millimeters of penetration surpasses it by 50 millimeters of the Model 5A. The heat stays the same with 350 millimeters. Okay, it's also 10 millimeters stronger, and the HE is the same. The reload time though is pretty, yeah, it's not that good compared to the Model 5A. Just the Model 5A, if you think about it, has a ridiculous DPM for a tier 10 heavy tank. Other than that, 0.35 accuracy is a little bit better than the one on the WZ, and the aim time is a little bit worse. So overall, this tank looks really fun to me to play. I do hope though that the cupolas are not too strong and we get another Object 268 version 4. It will most likely be pretty fast, not as fast as the 268 version 4, I think. I don't know yet. But yeah guys, thank you so much for watching, and tell me, what do you guys think about those vehicles? Let me know in the comment section below, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you all later.